I just want to start this video off by saying this guy right here, Alex Galchenyuk. All he's done so far on the Toronto Maple Leafs is be absolutely awesome. And when he hasn't been, and I've said that, all he's done is make me look like a complete idiot. And I am so happy to be wrong on things like this because man, oh man, was that a lot of fun to watch last night. Respect earned. Never gonna doubt this guy again. But welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Steven Brown, and in today's video, guys, I want to talk about Game 4, the overall mood surrounding this series right now and moving forward, and I also want to talk about some things heading into Game 5. If there was any doubt, and I don't think that there should have been, the Toronto Maple Leafs absolutely killed the Montreal Canadiens in this game, and if you're just looking at the scoring chances, oh my god. Anytime the opposing team is able to do this for you, and you're only giving up 3 goals plus the empty netter, your goalie had a hell of a game for you. And I don't mean to skip ahead, but in terms of the expected goals and the scoring chances that the Maple Leafs got, Carey Price didn't have a bad game. He hasn't had a bad series. The Toronto Maple Leafs have just been absolutely kicking the crap out of the Montreal Canadiens up and down the ice, and Carey Price is really the only reason why it's been as close as it has been. And for Leaf fans watching Habs fans and hearing the things that they've had to say throughout this series, they were all high and mighty after Game 1 and stuff like that, and then they're blaming the referees and the injuries or this, that, and the other thing. It's like, no man, pick one. Pick one of the things that you want to use as an excuse or a scapegoat for this series. Because if I was looking at this Montreal team, the most concerning thing going into this playoff series was how Carey Price was going to play, how he was going to play coming back from injury. And he's been their best player, hands down. And they're blaming their coach, they're blaming their GM, they're blaming the referees, injuries, this, that, the other thing. They're calling the Leafs dirty. It's everything. They're jumping through an Olympic obstacle course to just not give the Leafs credit in this series. But maybe we should chill out going at Habs fans, because I think I would be frustrated if I was in their shoes as well. The team hasn't really played well after winning Game 1. They've been wasting really good playoff performances from Carey Price, and I don't know what you do with the coaching situation. I don't know what you do with the GM situation moving forward. I don't know. Going into this series, I said that I wanted Toronto to beat Montreal at their absolute best. Well, what does it mean for Montreal to be at their best? They're a team that relies on their structure to play sound defensive hockey, and they need great goaltending. All their offense is created either off the rush or in the neutral zone or in the defensive zone by getting turnovers and really taking advantage of the speed that their forwards have. And I think that they've done an okay job at that. I mean, if you think about the Nick Suzuki goal that he scored off the rush, if you think about the Paul Byron goal that he scored that was a turnover at the Maple Leafs' offensive blue line on the power play, they've done a decent job at that, but the Maple Leafs have shut them down in every other facet of the game, especially their power play. And that's Mitch Marner, Kerfoot, Zach Hyman, Ilya Mikheyev just absolutely doing work on that penalty kill and really shutting down any type of momentum that Montreal could afford to build. And of course, that's Jack Campbell, because when they have gotten opportunities to score, he's been right there. He's been right there. I mean, the only goal that you can maybe say, yeah, would have liked to have had that was the Nick Suzuki goal off the rush, but even that was a good shot. So if I'm a Leafs fan, being up 3-1 at this point in the series, I would feel pretty damn great about how my team has gotten to even have a 3-1 series lead at this point, and I wouldn't even listen to any of the excuses that Montreal fans want to throw out there, or any of their whining players want to either. Don't listen to it, don't feed into it, don't give it any energy whatsoever, because Carey Price has played absolutely awesome in this series. And that was their main concern heading into it. Don't listen to anything about the refs or this, that, and the other thing. Especially because the Maple Leafs lost John Tavares the way that they did in Game 1. Their response in Game 2, 3, and 4 should have you feeling absolutely awesome about this team. But I also am a little bit disappointed in the Montreal Canadiens, not the Toronto Maple Leafs. No, I just said you should be feeling awesome if you're a Leafs fan. Because the media hyped this series up like it was going to be a juggernaut taking on the Leafs. And it really hasn't been. I know we talked about it here on the channel as The Leafs winning this series, but the games at least being close. And I mean, game 1 and game 3 definitely were, but game 2 and game 4 were blowouts. They were blowouts. I mean, the first period of both of those games were close, but once the Leafs scored 1 and then 2, the Habs just really fell apart. And this is the lineup from Game 4 against Montreal. Does Rasmus Sandin draw back in for Game 5? Is Nick Foligno ready to go for Game 5? We don't know that yet, and we probably won't know till about 5 or 6 o'clock on Thursday, because Sheldon Keefe doesn't want to give the other coach an opportunity to prepare for the changes that he wants to make to his lines. I do think that Rasmus Sandin draws back into the lineup for Game 5. Might have just been a bump and a bruise thing. You also want to get your depth guys into the lineup at some point. You don't want them sitting too much, and that's why you get Travis Dermott into a game. You get him into the flow of things so that if you did need him, he's not coming in completely cold. So I do think Sandin comes back in. But is Nick Foligno ready for Game 5 or not? Like I said, we won't know. If he is, you more than likely bump Adam Brooks from the lineup. You reunite that grumpy old man line. But man, I'd have a really hard time breaking up Galchenyuk, Kerfoot, and Nylander. Now, with the goaltending, there's no controversy, but it is a topic of conversation because some people don't feel that you can ride Jack Campbell all the way. He's had some injury problems earlier in the season, and you don't want to burn him out. And if you're looking at the last 3 Stanley Cup winners, their backup goaltenders have played a combined 3 games in the entirety of the playoffs between those 3 teams. So I want to leave this question with you guys to end off this video. Do you think that Jack can carry the load the rest of the way? Because his performance is not being called into question. He's been awesome. He's been absolutely amazing. People are only talking about it because they're worried if he can carry the load the rest of the way. And if you're one of those people and you're worried about that, I just want to say to you, I don't think that there's an ideal scenario that exists for Frederik Andersen to come into a game. I would rather use him in a game before you absolutely need to. Like, God forbid, I'm knocking on some wood there, something happened to Jack. I would rather know what we have in him beforehand. But at the same time, I don't think there is anything that can calm that anxiety. You just have to throw him into whatever situation exists. And the reality of that is that the matchups are only going to get tougher. And I'm padding this and I'm adding extra context to it because it is a loaded question. I just want to leave you guys also, before you answer that question, I want you guys to consider the best case scenario. You give Freddie a game, not necessarily saying against Montreal, but like I said, the matchups are only going to get harder as you move forward in the playoffs. And the Jets are a high-flying offensive team who have a really talented shooters. Montreal, not so much. Let's say you throw him into a game and he plays well. What does that do for you? The thing that I love the most about this Leafs team, especially with the forward core and the D core, and I'm knocking on wood there, is that if there is an injury, I have confidence that someone can step up and fill that role. With the goaltending, that confidence does not exist. All I'm saying is that it would be nice to know that Jack Campbell doesn't have to carry the load. I'm not doubting whether he can, and I'm definitely not saying I don't want him to. I'm just saying it would be nice to know that he doesn't absolutely necessarily 100% positively have to. That's all. I'm not meaning to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that or throw negative fuel to a fire. I'm just asking a question. I know that it's a loaded one. That's why I prepped it with as much context and clarity as I possibly can. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, hasn't it been a lot of fun the last little while?